All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating paradox. How in the world do we see something that's smaller than the very light we're using to see it? And the answer, which is pretty amazing, isn't about building better, fancier lenses. It's about using better math. For a long, long time, this was seen as a hard wall in physics. It's called the diffraction limit. The idea was you just can't focus light down to a spot smaller than about half of its own wavelength. So how are modern microscopes able to just blow past this limit? Well, the secret isn't in the glass. So here's the fundamental problem we're up against. Any image you get from one of these super powerful microscopes is always corrupted by two main things. First, you get blur. That's just the optics smearing out every tiny point of light. And second, you get random noise, which comes from the fact that light is, a quantum thing. And together, those two problems completely hide the tiny details we're desperately trying to see.
Okay, so what you see on the left is pretty much what the microscope gives us, this blurry, fuzzy blob. On the right, that's what we want. That's the goal, a super sharp image of individual points. But the jump from the left image to the right one isn't made with a better lens. It's made with better math. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
So how do we even get started? Well, the very first step is to translate this physical problem, this blurry image, into a language that mathematicians can actually work with and solve. We have to build a statistical model. This diagram, which comes right from the source paper, is basically our roadmap. It lays out the whole journey, from a perfect, pristine signal all the way to the messy, noisy data the microscope actually records. But to really get a grip on the problem, we're going to trace this journey backwards, starting with the truth way over on the right and see how it gets messed up step by step. Starting on the far right of that diagram, we have what's called the ground truth. This is the perfect signal, the thing we're actually trying to find. In the mathematical model, it's just a collection of separate point sources, which the math nerds call mu, or mu. Just think of it like a perfect, flawless map of stars in the night sky. Now, moving one step to the left, each of those perfect little points of light has to pass through the microscope's optics. This part of the process is called convolution, and that's just the mathematical word for blurring. It's kind of like taking a single sharp dot of ink and watching it bleed out into a fuzzy circle on a piece of paper. Every single one of our stars gets smeared out into a blob. And the very last step in this degradation process is noise. See, light is made of photons, and actually detecting them is a random process. So even if a source is emitting light perfectly steadily, the number of photons that hit each pixel on your camera sensor will just fluctuate randomly. This is called Poisson noise. It's like throwing a layer of random static over our already blurry image, which of course makes the whole problem even harder to solve, right? So in the end, we only ever get to see that final messy image. The entire challenge, the whole game, is to mathematically reverse this process. So the big question is this: how accurately can any algorithm possibly work its way backwards from this corrupted data to find the perfect truth we started with? And this brings us right to the heart of the mathematical question. To understand how well we can solve this thing, we first have to figure out a fundamental speed limit. The absolute best possible accuracy any algorithm could ever hope to get. And here's where we really start to dive into the math. Researchers in this space talk a lot about something called the minimax rate. Now, the name sounds super complex, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It's the best accuracy you can guarantee no matter what. Think of it like a performance benchmark for the absolute hardest version of the problem you could ever imagine. But there's a catch. And this quote from the paper sums it up perfectly. These so-called worst-case scenarios are often these bizarre adversarial arrangements that are specifically cooked up to be difficult. They aren't the kind of situations that scientists are usually dealing with in the real world. And this worst-case rate is, well, it's slow. The math shows that the best possible accuracy gets worse at a rate related to 1 over 2k, where k is the number of points you're trying to find. That k is what makes it so brutal. It means the problem gets exponentially harder as you add more points. For example, with just 2 points packed really close together, k equals 2. The rate is 1 over 2 times 2, which gives us this t to the minus 1/4 that you see here. So why is this rate so pessimistic? It's because it has to be prepared for the absolute worst-case scenario. And what's that? It's when all k of your points are packed unbelievably close together. I mean, imagine trying to figure out what 10 different people are saying when they're all talking at once and you're listening through a single muffled microphone from 100 yards away. That's the kind of impossible task this global rate has to cover.
This limitation, though, is what leads to the key insight of this entire paper. Instead of trying to solve for all the points at once, this global view, what if we could break the problem down? What if we could solve for smaller, separate clusters of points, taking a local view instead?
And it turns out this local view approach is what builds into a much, much faster and more practical solution. This is where the mathematical picture really starts to get a lot clearer.
This is it. This is the central breakthrough. The accuracy you can get isn't some one-size-fits-all thing. It's not governed by one single slow speed limit. Instead, it totally depends on the local arrangement, the actual geometry of the points you're trying to find.
And here's how that actually plays out. For that tight little cluster of 2 points, your accuracy improves at that slower rate of t to the minus 1/4. But if you have a single, isolated point all on its own, you can find it at the much, much faster parametric rate of t to the minus 1/2. The geometry of the problem literally dictates its own speed limit. So this reveals the core strategy. A really adaptive algorithm can partition the image into these little local regions. The paper calls them Voronoi cells, and then it can solve a much easier problem inside each one. Suddenly, you're not solving one impossibly hard global problem anymore. You're solving many simpler, local ones, and each one has its own much faster rate.
Okay, so this is all very elegant mathematical theory, but does it actually work? Let's put the math itself under the microscope and take a look at the results.
And the answer is a huge, definitive yes. I mean, look at this stunning image. This is a real-world reconstruction right from the paper. Using these local techniques, the authors were able to pinpoint the exact locations of 70 individual fluorescent molecules attached to a tiny folded-up DNA structure. You can clearly see the distinct clusters, just like the locals theory predicted you would. And what's really cool is that this mathematical toolkit goes way beyond just microscopy. The same fundamental problem of trying to untangle blurred, noisy points shows up all over science. From sharpening up medical PET scans, to mapping out particle jets at the Large Hadron Collider, to resolving distant stars in astronomy, it's all the same math. Which really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We started this whole journey with a blurry image that seemed like it was fundamentally limited by the laws of physics. But by creating a better mathematical model, one that understood the local structure of the problem, we brought it into sharp focus. And it just makes you wonder, what else out there, in science or even just in our daily lives, seems like an indecipherable blur, just waiting for the right mathematical lens to make it all clear?